Update: how do I, 32 MtF, say thank you to my foster parents for being so amazing? Original here. Sorry for not responding to any of the original comments. Reading the comments ended up being very emotional, full throat constricting, tears, and I had to take breaks because I was getting a bit overwhelmed with the advice. I did take many people's advice and sort of made it my own. I took a week off work and read Palavras and Urine Limamite suggestions, in particular about a memory jar and childhood milestones. Thank you guys and everyone else who mentioned a letter, adoption, etc. I ended up writing a journal that was addressed to them. Once I started, I had a really hard time containing how I felt, so the letter became quite long. So being the over-the-top person I am, I ended up on Pinterest, found a tutorial on making your own paper 101 book binding, and basically wrote a mini journalator and then bound it. I also put photos in as well. I would post pictures, but it's a bit unpolished. I didn't want to commission artwork or a quilt because I wanted to do it myself, but my so does embroidery, and she says can do a little pixel per song across stitch portrait, so we are looking into that too. After our children enter the picture, I gave them the journal last weekend. They spent Friday, Saturday reading it. We had a very emotional dinner on Saturday, especially after I asked them about adult adoption and changing my surname. They were thrilled. They had thought about it too, but didn't want to feel like they were taking something of my identity away or pressure me. Cue more tears, to the point of my so joking about gluing tissue boxes to her person. This has been a very dehydrating week. Thank you so much, Reddit. I'm so glad I posted here. This was seriously an amazing experience. TLDR, crafts, adoption and electrolyte replacements. My 34F boyfriend, 30M, is erotic roller playing with his ex-girlfriend, 25 plus F. I, 34F, started dating my boyfriend, 30M, a few months ago, and things have been going incredibly well in terms of our chemistry and compatibility. We both have a lot of the same interests in common, and get along well together. I really do genuinely see a future with him in the long run. My boyfriend and I are both avid World of Warcraft players, but he's more into the roleplay element of it, although he'll also engage in other non-roleplay gameplay, like PvP combat and such. He explained that, for him, the creative writing aspect of roleplay is a deep passion of his, and of course, I totally understand that. I also know that he'll roleplay having romantic relationships between his roleplay character and other characters in the game, and as a general rule of thumb, while I'm not thrilled about it, I can live with that if he and his roleplay partner respect real-life boundaries. So far, I've trusted him to respect those boundaries, and he's been open with me about discussing his ongoing roleplay storylines. When we first started getting to know each other, he mentioned that he's still friends with his ex-girlfriend. I don't know her age, but I believe she's at least 25, and asked whether that was a deal breaker for me. My understanding is that he had met her in World of Warcraft initially, struck up a friendship, then they decided to try dating for a while. They eventually took their romance offline at some point, and maintained a physical sexual aspect to their relationship. He said that they eventually broke up because they weren't compatible in a romantic sense, but were on amicable enough terms to stay platonic with each other. When he asked whether this was a deal breaker, I told him that it depends entirely on the circumstances, and that there's no clear right or wrong in this case, that it really varies from person to person and situation to situation. Because he gave the clear impression that there was just no chemistry between him and X, and I can understand that from personal experience, and I don't believe there's anything inherently wrong with befriending an ex. I was okay with it at first. But what I didn't know, until he mentioned it in passing a few weeks ago, was that there was still a remaining sexual chemistry between the two of them, even after they broke up, and that they had clearly discussed it during the conversation that led to their amicable parting of ways, so to speak. In my boyfriend's verbatim recollection to me, he had told his ex during that final conversation, "We are clearly just together for the sex," and they had agreed that they were better off as friends. If he had told me that when he first mentioned his ex, at the beginning of our relationship, I would have been much less okay with her continued involvement in his life than what I had initially indicated to him. This brings me to the subject of my post. I already knew that he plays World of Warcraft with his ex, but what I didn't know was that it specifically includes erotic roleplay with her characters, and he does this on a regular basis each week, and continues to do so. He feels there's nothing wrong with it, because it's just roleplay. It's like watching porn, and if it were any other random player in the game, I'd be inclined to agree. But because it's with a woman with whom he had an actual real-life sexual relationship with, I think their history together pierces the barrier that separates just roleplay from real-life feelings. My apprehensions are all the more heightened because he had also mentioned that he will devise rollerplay storyline splits that cater to his rollerplay partner's real life kinks, such as non-consensual themes and such. And in my view, the very fact that a real life sexual kink is forming the basis of a rollerplay inherently leads to real life sexual gratification to some extent. The idea of this ex-girlfriend continuing to derive sexual gratification from my boyfriend is making me lose my mind, but as someone with a history of trauma, I can't really tell whether I'm just being unreasonable and jealous, or if this is something worth actually being upset over. I haven't discussed this with my boyfriend yet, because first I'd like to figure out whether I'm in the right or wrong in feeling upset about this. TLDR, my boyfriend engages in sexual roleplay with his ex-girlfriend in World of Warcraft, and I don't know whether I'm being reasonable in taking exception to it. Update, I talked to him about everything, and now he's basically pushed me away. He said he'd stop erping, but he's lamenting the loss of the erp, as though I had murdered his family. I guess it's fairly clear where his loyalties lie. His ex must be a very special lady, apparently. Long distance boyfriend, 32M, invited me, 31F, to visit, then acted like he didn't want me there. Do I leave? My boyfriend, 32M, and I, 31F, dated in the same city for 6 months, until he got a job in a different state. We split up, but then he reached out a few months later, and we got back together, but decided to figure out the details during a visit. I went to go see him, and was very excited. When I got there, however, I was surprised to see that he was acting pretty aloof with me. He told me how happy he was in his new life, how he couldn't imagine living anywhere else, and didn't understand why people didn't live in his new town. He also criticized me for calling his new town by an old nickname, pointed out someone he had made out with during our break, and said she was needy, and joked about how many people he could hypothetically get within his new town. It all made me feel like an outsider or awkward interloper who didn't belong. I told him I was happy for him, but also that his over-the-top happiness made me wonder whether he was trying to send me a message, either that he was over me, or he wanted me to move out, or something. He shut down, and got really upset. He said that he was just acting normal, and that if there was any weirdness, then it must be something about me that was causing that. He got upset that I would criticize him for his happiness, and project my own insecurities of our relationship onto him unfairly. I told him that I guessed I misread things. We haven't talked about it again, except when he told me he talked to his friends, and told me they said he was not overly happy, and so again I must be the one unfairly projecting my feelings. What do I do? Leave? Talk about it again? TLDR, LDRBF invited me to see him then acted distant and happy without me. Update I, 34M, found texts that shows my wife, 33F, cheated on me. Original post. So this morning, as I was leaving to go fishing with my buddy, Melissa said she wanted to talk. She didn't beat around the bush, she got right to it. She said that she has been unhappy in our marriage for months and feels like it can only get worse from here. She then said that she felt like a divorce was on the horizon for us, and that it would be best for both of us. At this point I lose it. I tell her, why didn't you ask me for a divorce before you started fucking Andrew? Sorry for the caps. At this point she becomes a deer in the headlights. She stammers for a couple of seconds, then starts bawling her eyes out. She says she's sorry, that she didn't want to break my heart. Well, sorry bitch, you wanted a divorce, you're going to get one. Literally minutes after she said she wanted a divorce, she contradicts herself by saying we should try to work things out, and that we should head to counseling. I tell her that she has to have all her shit out of the house by Sunday afternoon, when I return. Or else I throw your shit onto the street. I've already secured my valuables, so she can't damage anything of mine. So yeah, that's about it. She thought she could just get away with cheating and request a divorce. Nope. TLDR, wife wanted a divorce, told her I know about her cheating, immediately contradicts herself saying we should try to work things out. We are getting a divorce. Update, he, 50M, left me, 34F. TLDR, he left me. I've been a single and a mom for 2 months now, and I'm so happy. It was so much that happened. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. 1. He said he has syphilis, and said I gave it to him. I got tested. I didn't. I did cheat in the beginning of our relationship, before I was pregnant. He said it lied dormant in my body despite having STD testing done all throughout my pregnancy. 2. We started running out of money. We were 2 months behind in bills, and he was going through a cancer diagnosis when he left. I told him I would help him through everything, and once I got my finances together, and he got himself together, I would leave. But C.3. 3. I told him I didn't want to be with anymore, that it wasn't working, and he tried to shame, guilt, belittle me. Nothing worked. I was over it, so he ended up leaving and blocking me. I didn't know what was happening with the rent because it wasn't paid. The apartment is still there, but I ended up moving out and moving closer to my support system. I moved with my sister, and she helps me so much with the baby. She cooks and cleans. It's like having an actual partner. I do have to pay half the bills in my own, but it's so little, and having a live-in babysitter is pretty awesome. 4. It's been 2 months and he hasn't spoken to or has seen his son. I don't care if he doesn't talk to me, but my son is 18 months and is missing his father. 5. I'm so happy all the time. I have bad moments sometimes, but overall I'm happy. Sometimes I start to worry about money, but I know I'll be okay. I don't need to worry about that. I have an amazing support system now. I get time to myself. I do what I want to do. I go out. My baby is happy, but calls other men Ada. Since he started daycare he talks and comprehends so well. He's so smart and so adorable. I love him so much. I feel so confident. I feel like a woman. I feel beautiful. I feel desired. I'm loving my body more. I'm loving myself more. I feel myself maturing, and I'm feeling more like a mother. I hate that it took me being a single mom to feel like a woman and feel like myself. Sometimes I feel like I failed my son by leaving his father. That's the update. He left me, as my hating ass friend likes to say. He left and blocked me. Thank God. My mom, 56, lied to me and borrowed my 29 money to throw away. Hi, I really don't know what to do anymore and hope I can get some insights here. Point a little background. We are Asian and I'm in my late 20s and I make about 90k, but gave half my life saving to my mom to get her teeth done. My mom is in her late 50s. She works as a nail tech and has been going to the casino here and there for the last 10 years to play blackjack and some other table card games. I think she makes about 2k a month and she has no real expense aside from food and gambling. However, the casino is like 100% loss every time. Point lately my mom's gambling problem has gotten really bad. She's got this ritual of sitting at our dinner table, eyes glued to her phone, deep in the world of blackjack tutorials, as if they're some top tier Netflix drama. She takes the bus from Brooklyn to Atlantic City and Mohegan Sun every Tuesday and Thursday. The biggest breaking point for me was when I found out that she took the money we gave her for her teeth and went to gamble with it. So a few months ago, she was telling me, my dad and her sister, that half her teeth are rotten or something and need dental work done. She went to a place here in Bay Ridge and they quoted her like 40k to get her teeth removed and fix. I even went with her to confirm it and ask for a discount because it was so expensive. She said her insurance wouldn't cover it and that she needs help or it's going to be bad. Long story short, all of us lent her money and contributed about 36k cash for her to get her teeth done. Fast forward to now. A month later, I saw a dental bill for my mom and decided to open it. Comes to find out, she went to a totally different dentist to get her teeth done and it was only $8,500 and she only got 4 root canal done. So far I'm the only one that knows about this and I'm scared to tell my dad about it because he's probably gonna explode on her, and the last time he got mad he took the chopping cleaver knife and destroyed half her designer stuff from expensive bags to jackets. That's a whole other story. We have tried talking to getting her to stop gambling, but I don't think it's gonna get anywhere. I feel like the only way to solve this somehow is to find an alternative for her to cope with her gambling addiction but not lose as much money. I know it's a lot. Thanks for listening. I'm just lost and not sure where to go from here. If any of you have advice or similar stories, I'm all ears. I just need to figure out what to do. TLDR, my mom's become a casino addict, constantly at Atlantic City and Mohegan Sun. She's making up wild stories to borrow money, even lied about dental work, and it's straining our family ties. Dad and aunt are her go-to lenders. Feeling torn between anger and wanting to help. Any advice or similar experiences? Edit 1. Honestly, I might just move far away to another state. Is that a good idea? Update 1. Ty guys for commenting and helping me make my decision. I don't think I'm going to tell my dad about this scheme because it probably won't end well. I will probably check out our Asian parents stories as one of you guys suggested. Not going to give her any more money no matter what. I am worried about her remortgaging the home, though I can see that she's an addict, but it's just hard to keep track of her all the time as well. I have a full-time job and sometimes it's very demanding, so I won't be able to follow her everywhere. I will probably look to see if I can get her into playing the stock market and copying portfolios using Dubap or Robinhood, because I don't think I can ever stop her from gambling unless I put her in a mental hospital or something.